The next album, 1994, In the Trees. So there's four singles: Boneyard Tree, Wiser, All Uncovered, and Lusitana. Is that how you pronounce it?
Lusitana, yeah.
Lusitana. So the
Yeah.
album goes gold, the album goes platinum. This is considered the band's big breakthrough album in Canada. Do you remember receiving the news that the album had gone gold and then platinum?
Uh,
That's a big
I
deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, just to add some context, we had gone from a distribution deal with MCA to a sort of a full-blown record deal with it was still MCA at the time. So we had the support, the full support of a record label in advance of Trees, and there was a significant lift in terms of promotion. I remember there's billboards around Winnipeg with our face on the billboards and just a massive, massive blanket of press that was happening, expensive videos. So we were kind of in the machine pretty dramatically at that point because we had the full support of a label.
Was it the momentum from McLaren that showed the label, okay, no, we need more than just to distribute their albums. We need to take them on legit
Yeah, I think
signings.
so. I mean, look, we toured McLaren extensively. We There was a lineup change within this time frame. Pete Lavin, who was our original bass player, is a terrific bass player. Very kind of meat and potatoes, groove oriented bass player. Very much stylistically similar to the way I played, for better for worse. And then he moved on. Wanted to spend more time with his family. Wasn't really Didn't have the same ambition that we did, and so there was a couple of years in there. I mean, he stuck around till we found somebody. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is when we hired and brought on Ken, we had some auditions. He was the guy. He added another element to what we were doing, and that was group songwriting. So that was a very, very significant change. We had in our back pocket a great composer in Joey, but we also had suddenly the option of writing collectively. And I think that was at the time largely influenced by some of the stuff that Ken was bringing in. So to answer your question simply, we had built relations with people at MCA at the time through our work promoting McLaren, and that allowed, assuming at the time, Jake to sort of speak to the label and say, "Look, we're shopping and looking, and would you like to?" They probably had some sort of first right of refusal or something at the time. So yeah, we were like an MCA signing at the time.
And I think I remember seeing a picture of you guys receiving your plaques. I don't know if that's for the platinum or the gold or
Oh yeah,
maybe a
you're asking.
different
Yeah, we
album.
got. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we were presented gold records with Trees, uh, and yeah, it was. I think they surprised us. Ralph James was there, Jake was there. It was in Winnipeg, I believe. I think we were playing with Junk House in Winnipeg at the time,
Nice.
if memory serves. And yeah, it was very, very cool. It felt legitimate. It's hanging on my wall back there. The gold record.
Is it true that after the success of In the Trees, then the McLaren album went gold? Is that the timeline?
Yes, exactly. Yep, it went gold. I don't know the dates, but uh, it, yeah, we got to gold status on McLaren. That one felt really good too because it was obviously the debut and it was sort of moved from strength to strength, and certainly the promotion that was a part of the Trees cycle uh, catapulted McLaren as well. So yeah, very cool.
I was going to ask if the McLaren going gold, if that was extra special because you basically did that as an indie band with all your hard work before, and there was just a little gasoline added to it once you moved over to the major label.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what happened.
Listening to the albums, with that album, the song All Uncovered, your drums are super unique on that song. Do you remember coming up with that drum part, like as you guys are writing the song?
Yeah, I've told this story before, and it's worth repeating because it was very exciting, the all uncovered thing, because that sort of epitomized the group writing that we were doing at the time because we needed material, and we would often spend time. We would lock ourselves in a room together and try to write. It's torture, and we just had a writing session a few weeks ago, and it's still torture. But more often than not, we come up with stuff. And that day, Ken, I believe it was him. He came in with a basic riff. I learned later, much later, that he'd been listening to the song "Secret Journey" by the Police. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You took that from Secret Journey?" But that's a different story. Can I swear on this? Sorry,
Sure. Yeah.
um, but it morphed into a Watchmen song. So it was very organic. He started playing this riff. I think at the time we had agreed we might want to try to play or incorporate a 3/4 time signature into what we were doing. Ken played his thing. Joey added something. Danny started sort of improvising. And I do remember very distinctly with that song, we had gotten to about 2 minutes into the song where what we composed that afternoon is what the song is. And it broke down kind of naturally, but we looked at each other, and I remember laughing, thinking that's great. Danny sort of hit a high note, and it kind of hit a peak, and it was just it sounds corny. There was a bit of magic in the room. It's what songwriters strive for, and that's the really sort of the addictive thing that comes with creating. I'm sure we ended up recording it on a crude little dictaphone or something after, but we felt like we had something really good, and we're really proud of it. And that song, to this day, and this, like I said, I can't say this about all our songs, not even close. I still get chills playing it live. I still enjoy playing it live. It's a great arrangement. It's different, and fans, the energy we get from audiences when we play that is always exciting. But yeah, I was playing what's called blastics with that song. It's kind of a hybrid brush stick type of instrument, and it just gave the song a different quality. So that added to it as well, for sure. And that song, I think, single-handedly gave In the Trees a kind of a new lease on life after Boneyard Tree had run its course. We were kind of in the middle of an album cycle, not sure where to go next. I don't know whose idea was it to release All Uncovered as a single.
They deserve a raise.
Yeah, I don't know who thought of it. It wasn't me.
Mm.
But it launched the record. It gave it a new life, and and we were like shifting units, as they say back then. It really helped things, and still a great song.
I have some kind words sent in from another iconic Canadian drummer. This is someone that has memories from that period of time you're talking about. This is from original Our Lady Peace drummer Jeremy Taggart. He says, "Our first big festival was with the Watchmen in 1994 at Sunfest in Gimli, Manitoba. I always thought that Sammy was a very solid drummer, and I knew I liked him when he confessed his love for Elvin Jones." So that's from
Mm,
Jeremy Taggart.
nice, nice, very nice. Yeah, I follow Jeremy on Instagram, and he's a real personality with some comedic chops. But he also, from time to time, he'll get on the drum kit and he'll just like start grooving away. I'm like, man, this guy, he's got some pocket. He's he's a great drummer. But yeah, that's cool. Very nice. Thanks, Jeremy.
You guys received your first Juno nomination during that period of time with that album for Group of the Year. That's one of the big nominations you can get. What did that first Juno nomination mean to you? That's your country acknowledging your music, your talent, your hard work.
I think it meant that my parents can get off my back about my career choice. I think that's what it meant, Joel.
A little validity.
Yeah, no, I mean it was yeah, it was exciting. It was I don't know. if it really moved the needle as far as our own work ethic or our own uh, desire to continue to work and to write and that sort of thing. But it did, all jokes aside, it did kind of legitimize what we were doing a bit. Like I said, I feel like the band there was some struggle as far as getting on the national stage because of what I felt was a bit of a Toronto centric industry. Hope I don't get any hate mail for that. But when we had those national accolades, it was something we really appreciated for sure. And then we would go to the Junos, and you kind of think, cross your fingers, maybe we'll win this. We never won a Juno, but yeah, thinking back now, it's unbelievable how much the industry's changed. I can't remember the last time I watched the Junos. Last time I did, I looked over at my wife Sarah and I said, I don't know any of these bands. I don't know. I don't. I'm sound like an old man. The industry's just changed so much. But it was an amazing time for Canadian bands in the '90s with just a really good group of just real bands who wrote songs, who toured, who a lot of them, the really good ones had their own sort of identity. Some of them, a lot of them are still playing today. Um, and I still enjoy listening to a lot of them. I think Sloan are a bunch of geniuses, the way they market themselves with their artwork, and with, you kind of choose your favorite member of Sloan, and it was
They switch
uh,
their instruments in between songs. Like the whole band
yeah,
just
I mean
shifts one instrument. And you're like, what?
yeah, I mean, look, that's not really that's cool, but what I find more interesting is how, and I get their references. There's like sort of pastiche from '60s, '70s, I'm probably the same age as a lot of those guys, so I see kind of what they're doing here and there, and I really appreciate it. I wrote Chris Murphy. I'm gonna just drop a name here. Last year, a couple years ago, they put a record out, and I listened to it, and there was this piano song that Chris Murphy must have written because he sang it, and it was fantastic. And I wrote him a note, I don't know, maybe through Instagram or something. I said, to pull that kind of trick out of your ass, 30 years in, I was very, very impressed. That's really hard to do that on your 12th album, whatever it is. You just wrote a really, really great song, and he was grateful. And but yeah, so yeah, they're a great. Big Sugar, great band. Just fantastic guitars, and we all clamored to get on a bigger stage, metaphorically, and that's an American audience. And that was, I think, the biggest challenge that a lot of bands faced back then was the thumbs up and the legitimacy of other countries appreciating what you're doing. And I look back with a lot of clarity now. I know how the industry works. I know that Much Music will play your band if you're signed to a major label, and there's obligations and responsibilities with radio people who create playlists and such. So, and then CanCon, of course. There's a whole lot that goes into it. So it was really exciting for the Watchmen when we started to tour into some different markets as well and see some traction happening in other countries, because we knew that we needed to do that to sort of keep going. And we weren't taking anything for granted. We loved the fact that we had a certain level of popularity in Canada, but we also knew instinctively that we needed to widen the scope of things as well.
As you started to tour in other countries, you start to find success there as well. I remember seeing you guys chart in Australia. Did it mean something special to you to see other countries where you show up in the charts?
Yeah, exactly. It did. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at is I know that by the time were touring Australia, EMI Canada had a relationship with EMI Australia, and they had some success with some other bands who are Canadian who went down there. It was a long trip, but we did it. I think we were there 3 times in total. We did some major touring and major promotions there, and yeah, it was. It just felt like uh, it was very meaningful to be appreciated by a different country where perhaps the country wasn't sort of obligated to play you, if that makes sense. That sounds a little bit cynical, and I don't mean that to come off that way. I just mean it just boosted our confidence. Let me put it that way, to see that there was other countries that where what we were doing was making sense. And we would do everything and anything. We didn't say no to anybody back then. We did all the shows, all the morning TV, BS, everything, all the radio stations. We went down to Australia once for close to 3 weeks and just did promotion. I had a set of bongos that I walked around with, and we didn't play any shows. We just promoted Silent Radar. Um, so we wanted to make it happen for ourselves.
Yeah, for some reason, Australians just love Canadian bands. You mentioned EMI had other Canadian bands that had success in Australia. I think the Tea Party were EMI and they had platinum success in Australia as well. I wonder what it is about Australians and Canadians when it comes to music.
Well, at the time, if memory serves, they just liked good bands, good rock and roll bands. And
That's the
I
easiest
know,
explanation, right? Just there was good music from Canada.
well, yeah, I remember in Germany, they loved rock too. We played some big rock festivals there. In some of those countries, rock is still a thing. Rock is not a thing anymore. If you look at the charts, Billboard now, there's no the Foo Fighters, maybe. I mean, are they still putting records out? I mean, it's not a rock world right now. Back then in the 90s, everything was rock. Um, and but I loved Australian bands too. There's some of my favorite bands are Australian. So yeah, whatever the case may be, I'm not sure exactly what the kinship is there, but it felt comfortable out there for sure. 24 hours in the air on a plane, you know, it takes years off your life in terms of jet lag, but it was always worth it.